The hammer slipped from my hand when Dad said the words. It clanged against the concrete floor, the echo splitting through the dusty silence of the shop I'd rebuilt with my own hands. "I've decided to give the business to your sister," he said. "She has kids now. She'll need the stability." For a moment, I couldn't tell if he was joking. His voice was calm, too calm, and his eyes didn't flinch when mine searched them for a punchline that never came. 10 years of my life poured into this place. Late nights welding in the winter cold, wiring the new machines, painting the walls Dad used to curse were good enough. 10 years since he'd handed me the keys and said, "Make it yours, son." And now this. The shop still smelled like metal and old oil, the scent of our family's legacy. The dust in the air glittered in the sunlight bleeding through the garage door. Every corner held memories. I built the new counters, installed the security system, redid the accounting, landed our first six-figure contract. I turned a dying auto repair shop into a $4 million restoration business. And now my sister, Emily, who'd never held a wrench in her life, was getting it because she had kids. I wanted to scream. Instead I laughed. Came out brittle like glass breaking. "You can't be serious," I said. "She doesn't even work here. She doesn't know how to run it." Dad's jaw tightened. "She doesn't have to. She has responsibilities. And I don't." Snap. "What the hell do you think I've been doing all these years?" He sighed as if I were a child throwing a tantrum. "It's not always about money, Nathan. She's family. You both are." "Both," said my voice cracking. "You're giving her what I built." That night I didn't go home. I stayed in the shop, sitting at the same desk where I'd signed our biggest deal. My phone buzzed. Texts from Mom, from Emily. I ignored them all. The fluorescent lights hummed softly overhead, a lonely, mechanical sound. I thought about the first day I reopened the shop under my name. Dad had come in with that proud, quiet smile, the one that used to make me feel 10 feet tall. He'd said, "You've done something even I couldn't do." Those words had fueled me for a decade. Now I wondered if they meant nothing. Emily came by the next morning. She looked nervous, holding her phone like a shield. "Nate, please don't be mad," she said softly. "Dad just wants what's fair." I laughed again. "Fair? You've never worked a day here." She looked down. "I know. But I've been helping Dad. The last few years." Something in her tone twisted my gut. "Helping him how?" She hesitated, glancing at the office door, the one that led to Dad's private files, contracts, accounts. "He needed someone to manage the finances," she said. "You were too busy with operations, so he asked me to handle the books." Froze. "What are you talking about?" "I've been handling the accounts." "No, Nate," she said gently. "You've been handling what he let you see." That night, I broke into Dad's office. The lock was the same one I'd installed. The filing cabinet was nearly empty. No invoices, no payroll ledgers. Just a single folder labeled tax. Private. Inside were papers I'd never seen. Bank statements, transfers, withdrawals. Hundreds of thousands missing from the business account. Signed by Dad. And co-signed by Emily. My hands shook as I flipped through them. The dates stretched back years. Every family emergency, every tax adjustment, every quiet moment when Dad had told me not to worry about the books, it was all there. I felt something heavy and cold settle in my chest. Betrayal, yes, but worse than that. Humiliation. They hadn't stolen from me overnight. They'd been doing it for years. Slowly, silently, while I worked myself to the bone. When I confronted them, it wasn't rage that came out. It was something quieter, darker. "Why didn't you just tell me?" I asked. "Why make me believe this was mine?" Dad looked old suddenly, smaller somehow. "Because you would have left," he said. "You've always been too proud, Nate. You'd never have stayed if you knew." "Stayed for what?" I whispered. "To build something you could take away." Emily's eyes brimmed with tears. "It wasn't supposed to go this far." Dad thought. "Stop," I said. "Don't make this sound noble. I looked at her. My sister, my only sibling. The girl I used to protect from bullies, who used to sneak into the shop as a kid just to watch me paint the cars. Now she couldn't even meet my eyes. I left without another word. I drove until the gaslight came on and parked by the old bridge near the river, where Dad used to teach me to skip stones. I sat there for hours, trying to breathe through the ache in my throat. Every sound felt magnified. The chirping of crickets, the hum of distant traffic, the whisper of the river below. It wasn't just betrayal that hurt. It was the understanding that they'd justified it. That in their minds they'd done the right thing. I'd been rewritten out of my own story. A week later, the official documents arrived. The ownership transfer was complete. My name was gone from the business. I didn't sign anything. Didn't need to. Dad had been smart. He'd kept all the assets under his name from the start. The company was never legally mine, no matter how much I'd built. Emily sent me a message that night. I know you hate us, but Dad's not well. He needs help. Please don't disappear. I read it over and over. Not well. I almost laughed. I'd seen him that morning, outside the shop, shaking hands with a client, smiling like nothing had happened. That smile, it used to make me proud. Now it made me sick. A month passed. The shop reopened under a new name. ENR Restorations. Emily and Richard. My father and sister. I stood across the street the morning they unveiled the new sign. They didn't see me. The air smelled of fresh paint and gasoline, the same way it always had. A kid walked by, pointing at the cars gleaming under the sun. Cool place, he said to his friend. I almost told him it used to be mine. But what was the point? The world had moved on. The shop didn't remember me anymore. Later that night, I unlocked the old storage unit, the one Dad never bothered to check. Inside were my tools, my blueprints, my designs. Every screw, every blueprint from the 10 years I'd spent building his dream. No, my dream. I stared at the logo stenciled on the side of an old crate. N. Hayes Automotive, the name I'd once painted proudly. That's when I knew. I couldn't get the shop back. But I could build another. Something better. Something that would carry my name again. Still, some nights when the wind shifts just right, I swear I can smell that same old mix of oil and sawdust. It hits me in the gut, like a memory that refuses to fade. That's the thing about betrayal. Doesn't end when they take something from you. It ends when you stop letting them define what's yours. And I'm not there yet. But I will be.